We're taking our shot, bring what you got. We're going all the way to the top. We will hear the sound of 1 million.
Hey, this is Anthony Rose. Now, we've been teaching West Coast Swing for a long time. We've taught thousands and thousands of people how to dance West Coast Swing. There's always one thing that comes up when people kind of in that novice, kind of getting into intermediate stage that always kind of holds people back. And that's it. There are 6 count patterns and 8 count patterns. But when people are learning these things, how do they know which one is? Like if you're a follower, how do you know that he's leading a 6 count pattern or 8 count pattern, and what should the rhythm be? And we're gonna make that really, really simple. In the next few minutes, we'll completely change the trajectory of you learning how to dance West Coast Swing. Now, if you're brand new here at the channel, we post all of the dances from West Coast Swing to two-step, to polka, waltz, all that stuff. But you're gonna notice this little button down here, and it says subscribe. And if you click that button, then you become an X dancer. And then you'll know,
tell you.
Yeah, then you'll know all the awesome stuff happens here on the channel. So we're gonna break down the difference between the two and show you how to determine which one is which. Guys, this is something that always comes up. You kind of learn the basics and then you get to a certain point, and then West Coast Swing, everything you thought you knew changes, because in the beginning we teach everybody 6 count patterns, and then there's 8 count patterns, and people are like, oh my God, there's like 2 different rhythms, and how do I know the difference between the two? Okay, so we're gonna show you a 6 count rhythm, and we'll show you an 8 count rhythm, which is the first stage. There are 4 stages that we're gonna teach you. This is a short video, but 4 stages to actually getting this. The first stage is understanding there are 2 rhythms, which we're talking about now, and what are the 2 rhythms, right? Second thing is how are they different? Like, so when you're dancing, right? The second thing we'll cover is how do you know the structure and the movement of a 6 count, and how is it different than an 8 count? The third thing that people always get to is say, hey, okay, I get it, they're 2 different rhythms, but how do I lead it? Like, how do I tell her, like, this is an 8 count
and how
pattern?
do followers know what he's actually leading?
If we're changing the rhythm, how is she gonna know which rhythm to do? So how should you follow it? So how do we communicate that? And then the fourth thing that we're gonna do in this video is actually give you guys some real drills, because you can know it all day here, but if you don't know it here, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna give you guys some things you can practice that really teach your body how to do this, okay? First part, again, 4 parts. First part is the 2 rhythms. So we have 6 count patterns, which are 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And there's an infinite number of those. Then we have 8 count patterns. Again, 8 beats of music. The rhythm changes to 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, okay? So completely different rhythm, and we can communicate those back and forth. So now that we know that there are 2 rhythms and what those 2 rhythms and structure are, how are they different structurally? So when we're dancing, how are these 2 things different? And of course you could rewind this and see this, or you can watch, we're gonna show you now. A 6 count pattern typically starts her from one side of the slot, and if she passes me, it goes to the other end of the slot and stays there. So if we watch these 6 count patterns, she starts over there, 3 and 4, and now the pattern's complete on the opposite side. So if we did that again, she starts over there, and she goes over there if she passes me, which is a key factor. An 8 count pattern is different, like motion-wise, structurally, because she's gonna go from this side to that one, and then she goes back to that side. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We'll do the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, okay? So you can see the difference. In a 6 count pattern, it starts over here, and if she passes me, it goes to the other side. In an 8 count pattern, it goes over here, and then I send her back to the beginning spot. So structurally, motion-wise, that's the difference between the 2. That is how I communicate to her that this is a 6 count, because if I take her over here and leave her there, I'm leading a 6 count pattern.
Right, and that's important so the follower knows when to anchor, what intention that they're in. This is how he's communicating that.
Right, so I'm taking her over there and leaving her there, it's a 6 count pattern, but if I take her over there and then bring her back, then that's an 8 count pattern. That is structurally, in theory, that's how I communicate that stuff, right? Now, in practice, in the motion, like how am I going to communicate to her? Does she stay or does she go, right? So there's a specific point in the pattern that we have to talk about.
Right there.
They don't want to hear that. So, 6 count pattern, all right? Here's the difference between the rhythms. In a 6 count pattern, you have walk, walk, triple step, and then you'll have triple step. So you have section 1, walk, walk, section 2, triple step, section 3, triple step. Each one of those 3 sections, 2 beats of music. In an 8 count pattern, you have 4 sections of 2 beats of music. So where it changes is in the third section, because section 1 and 2 are still the same. So you still have walk, walk, and then same as the 6-count pattern, you have triple step. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add a walk, walk, and then we have our last triple step. So if you took a 6-count pattern, you have walk, walk, triple step, triple step. In an 8-count pattern, you still have section 1, walk, walk, section 2, triple step, but you add a walk, walk in between those two triples.
This will make more sense
following?
in a bit, yes.
Okay, I'm hoping.
Hang in there.
Comment below if I'm just speaking gibberish right now, so at least
Be honest.
So with the 6-count pattern, you have walk, walk, triple step, and then you have the next section, which is triple step. With an 8-count, you have walk, walk, triple step, and then you add a walk, walk in between the two triples. So here's what it looks like. So we have walk, walk, this is 6, and then you have triple step, and then you have a triple step because it's an 8-count pattern. With an 8-count, you have walk, walk, triple step, but then we add a walk, walk, triple step. Okay, so how do we communicate that? So we know what the structure is. She starts over here and she goes over there. If she stays over the 6-count, but if she goes over here, goes back, then it's an 8-count. How do I as a leader communicate it? How does she follow it? Like, how does she know what it is I'm saying, okay? And there's a secret little thing that happens inside, but it's not secret anymore because we're going to tell you what it is. But it happens in count 4, okay? On count 4, it's does she stay or does she go? So if you watch this, if I take her with that same rolling pass that we did a minute ago, if she's over there and I take her over there and she's still over there on count 4, then she knows to do a triple. So you have walk, walk, triple, she stays over there, and then she has an anchor in place, okay? If it's an 8-count pattern, she is already starting to go back to where she started on count 4. So if we take a whip pattern, 1, 2, 3, and she comes back for 4, and then she knows to do 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, a lot of people get this confused and they assume the next stage is a little drill that we can have you guys practice that you can determine between the two. But a lot of people assume that if I take her into this position, she knows she's supposed to do a whip pattern. And that's not true. There are many, many patterns that might take her into that dance position. We're not about cues or signals. It's about communications. I say some stuff or ask some questions and she says yes,
Physically.
right? So it's communication between the two of us. This pattern, taking her in that position, is not necessarily an 8-count pattern.
Right, and for followers, this is when it gets super important to actually follow from what you're feeling, not what you're thinking. And so in the pattern, and this is my footwork, it's really being in tune with what am I feeling from my lead and where does he want me to go?
Let me show you this. So if she started over here, an 8-count pattern, she goes over to the side and then she goes back. So she'll go 1, 2, 3, and she goes back 5, 6, 7, and 8. But taking her into that position could also be a 6-count pattern because we could go 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, right? So I took her over here and left her over there. It was not an 8-count pattern. So we got to talk about count 4. On count 4, here's something you guys can practice. Here's a drill you guys can use. On count 4, stop. Do 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on count 4, leaders, tell her on count 4 what is going to happen on count 5 and 6. So we could go 1, 2, 3, and bring her back for 4, and she knows that's an 8-count pattern. So if we stopped on count 4, it would look like this. 1, 2, 3, and come back for 4, and then say, okay, is it a 6 or an 8? She says, well, I'm in motion, I'm going back, so that's got to be an 8-count pattern. But you could also do that and take her to that side and leave her there on count 4. So that could be 1, 2, 3, and take her to the side rather than in motion so that we can just anchor in place, and that would be a 6-count pattern. Let me show you the footwork on that close up. So for an 8-count pattern, we have 1, 2, 3, and she comes back for 4. And now because she's in that motion to go back, then we could finish that as an 8-count pattern. But if we do a 6-count pattern, we go 1, 2, 3, and I could take her to the side. So she's still staying on that side, and now that she knows that, she can just do an anchor in place, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys a pop quiz. Watch my feet, and we're gonna stop on count 4, and you tell me which one of these two, and you don't have to tell me, tell it in your mind. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If she were coming towards me, that would have been an 8-count pattern, but because I'm keeping her on that side, we would just do an anchor. Guys, keep in mind that we're talking about the motion of where she's going. Is she staying or is she going? It is not the footwork, it's not the pattern, it's not how I'm holding her with the hand. So we let a move earlier where I did this, where we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that follows that structure. So if you watch this, I'm bringing her into that direction on count 3, but on count 4, I start sending her back. That lets her know it's gonna take 8 beats. So we'll have 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna bring her back for 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8, okay?
Yeah.
There's also slingshots and a lot of other things that you can do. So you can go like 1, 2, 3, bring her back for 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so this kind of follows across the board. One last thing on this, if you remember earlier in the video, I talked about if she passes me. Okay, and the reason why I put that in there is because there's also things like sugar pushes. So in a sugar push, she's not actually passing me, and so on and so forth. So, but if she passes me and I take her to the other side and I leave her there, it's a 6-count pattern. But if I take her to that side and start bringing her back, it's an 8-count pattern. So the structure changes, and that's how you tell the difference. That's how you can communicate it. Practice that drill, just like go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and let her say,
Yeah.
before you do that next thing, right? Because the rhythm changes in section 3. It's either walk, walk, or it's triple step, depending on the 2. So practice that. Let us know if that, guys, if that helps you guys. Comment down
Let us know what
below.
you think.
Let us know what you guys think and what you guys want to see here on the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Guys, have you checked out the world's first interactive virtual dance training technology?
should.
Xdance? Get a free trial right there, or if you want to watch another video on YouTube, click that one.
Stage headline on a Saturday night.